Welcome back, everybody, for more Factorio. This is episode number 15 of Recursion. So in today's episode, we need to make a big decision about our power troubles for the base. Solar panel field up here, it is totally done, except I suppose the middle part we could fill out. It is currently providing, a lot of gigawatts. We've got 267,000 times 60 kilowatts. It's something like 12 to 15 gigawatts during the day. So about half that overall with the accumulator charge. That is not even close to what we need for this base. If I was making a similar size base with the same amount of production amounts and the same amount of machinery, but not in Factorissimo, we would need much less power. But because we're trying to cram everything... Hello, autosave. Nice to see you. Because we are trying to cram everything... You know you can zoom in and out during the autosave? Oh my gosh, autosave. Because we're trying to cram everything into this one building, we have to use a lot of robots, which means a lot of power because they've got a charge, which drains the roboports, which creates a lot of power trouble. So if we go to the production tab, we click on the all to see how much things we've crafted during the entire playthrough. You can see that I've crafted 63,000 logistics robots, and I would say 50,000 or more are actively in the base. Somewhere between 50, 55, almost up to 60,000 are in the base, and they all need to charge. So we're going to need some solutions to our problems. The nuclear problem, I think maybe it's not going to work, at least not the way we thought it was originally. I wanted to move it inside the base, and that means we would have a lot less output slots for trying to get the empty barrels out, which has been a big problem. We're using solar panels right now, but as soon as the night sets, the power system uses nuclear first and accumulator second. So we'll see how much congestion there is, and we've seen it in previous episodes. Currently, or at least just before this episode started, I was using 8 output chests to try to get enough of the empty barrels out of the system fast enough. And that was supporting 3 of our factory floors. Each one has 14 reactors, about 6 gigawatts of total power. We are already way past that. When I'm doing research, we're pulling 15 gigawatts. So this thing is like less than half of what we need, and 8 output slots is barely keeping up with what we needed to do. And once we move it in here, we're going to have less because we just don't have as many, and we also have to instantly transmission it deeper into the base. Otherwise, this floor is going to just get overwhelmed. We basically have 1 output chest. People, over the course of my playthrough and over a few live streams, have suggested a few mods to try to help. And one of them has been a mod called Merging Chests. With Merging Chests, you get a special blueprint in your blueprint manager called the Chest Merge tool. The thing is, though, merging chests, it only supports wood, iron, and steel chests. So we would have to do something like this. And then we grab our Chest Merge tool, and we go like this. Bam. Okay, suddenly, we've got this giant chest. Now, this seems awesome. If I could have one of these that was a logistics chest, a passive provider, or active provider, any of those, we could do something really cool, but as it is, we can only do steel, so we have to do something like this, where we have the steel chest outputting, and then we've got to support it with a bunch of stack inserters into active providers. Yeah, this is not going to work. So here's the issue. For every single, and we're going to find out, let's see, is our power starting to decline? It's going to start happening soon, and then the robots are going to start transporting barrels, and we'll see that this is not going to do it. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and cut this one off so that we're only outputting to 1 chest, even though it's huge. And you might think, wow, that's a lot of stack inserters. Aren't those pretty fast? Well, for each one of our reactor floors here, so we've got 1 in here, and we've got 2 in this guy. Every single one of those needs to transport 430, approximately 430 water barrels in, and 430 empty water barrels out a second. So times 3, that's 1,200, and we need way more than this. And these guys transfer about 20 items a second. So I'll let you do the math, and we can see that this is not going to be sufficient. I tried a few other mods which provide alternate chests, larger chests, things like that. For the most part, those are not compatible or only partially compatible or inconsistently compatible with Factorissimo. So we're going to have to try something a little bit different. Let's check Mr. Power. I think our... Yeah, okay, so here comes the nuclear online. That means that our solar power is declining. There it goes. We're going to see the transfer of robots very soon. Now, even if we stop transporting water via barrel for the nuclear power, we're still going to need a lot of water to combine with the oil for all of the oil byproducts. Anytime we crack oil, we need water to crack heavy into light, light into petroleum. Do we need it to make plastic? We need it to make sulfur. So we need a lot of water regardless. And there is just going to be a silly amount of items going... I mean, there's already a silly amount of items, let's be honest, going into the base. And eventually we're going to need an additional mod. We're going to need to start using a mod called Fusion Robots, which provides extremely expensive robots. Every single fusion robot from the Fusion Robots mod requires a portable fusion reactor. So 250 processing units for every single robot. And I've got 50,000 robots in the base, so I'll let you do the math on that one as well. The thing about fusion robots, they don't have to charge. There are not enough roboports on this island to support the amount of robots we're going to need. So we're going to have to start using that one as well. Are the robots... Okay, here we go. Okay, the barrels came in. The power has transitioned to primarily nuclear power, and it's going to supplement the remaining 2 gigawatts, I guess, right now, with accumulator charge. And if we were doing science, we would need twice this amount of power. Let's watch to see if these guys can keep up. Now, these active provider chests, they're doing fine. Because we have so many, that's actually pretty good. But the steel chest, even with its ridiculous inventory size, you can see after not very long, it starts to quickly get overwhelmed. It's going to fill up, and it's not going to work. Even if we tried to do more, make it bigger, it's just, it's not a solution. And so, we're going to have to adapt our philosophy and do something like this. Bam. We need to use the water fill mod. This is a mod I used a little bit in C Block. It lets you correct some problems when you place landfill. I've used it in very limited fashion for this playthrough. When I placed some landfill in our barreling system out here, I messed it up a little bit. Instead of just reloading, I fixed it with water fill. Normally I don't do it. I don't use it to make artificial barriers or anything, or keep the aliens from coming. But I think this might be the only way that we can recursion our power, because we can't use solar indoors, and we can't transfer water via barrels fast enough. The robots just can't keep up. I think we've got to do this. We have to actually create quantum water inside our factory buildings with the water fill mod, which means I've got to redesign the factory floors once again. So here's the current layout we are using for our reactor floors. We've got 14 reactors, and then they are turning the water into steam. They're going into the factory buildings to generate the power. Once everything is up and running, we reverse the power, and 2 gigawatts goes flowing out the other direction. And presto changeo, by the power of editing, I have some new blueprints. We have a set of 4 because we've got to lay down the water, then the pumps, then landfill, and then all the rest of the stuff. So let's try it out. I haven't actually tested to see if everything lines up right. So this will be the first test on air. There's the water. Then, oops, okay, same button. We need to shift and scroll wheel to go to the next one. Then we put down all the pumps. There should only be one position where those will actually go. So once we get the water in place and it's centered with these little gaps in the bottom. Okay, there's the pumps, easy enough. Then the next one is to fill in the leftover gaps with landfill. Did I do that right? Seems like I did. They should still be supplying water. Then we do the rest of the owl. Draw the rest of the owl. Step 4. Place. And the test will be if these guys, these heat exchangers, fill up with water, then it's going to work. If that happens, we are in business. Can't click on them yet. I am in the way. What's going on here? Oh, that's right, because they have no inventory. You can't actually open them. There's no GUI. but they are full of water. It seems like our new layout is going to work. Those guys didn't place. That's just fine. We can hand place those, and in the future, we'll be using brand new ones, so they will place. Okay. That simplifies our power so much. We no longer really are going to have power concerns. Now we just have to put it actually inside the base. And now it is time to turn on the machine and see if it works. First, let's start by requesting uranium into our base. Just do, what's that? One strip wide, we'll just do 500. That should be more than enough. It's gonna come right up there from where the train unloads. Then we'll run inside. We will, of course, have to let the reactors heat up, but I'm not worried about the water this time, because the water is going to be totally passive. This feels like playing on easy mode after playing on such a hard difficulty for so long. Okay, so there is the uranium right there. It's going to come into here, and then we're going to transplant the processing center into here. We will rebuild it in a future episode to have higher throughput, basically. So each of these is going to be the reactors that we have been using previously, just slightly rebuilt to use the groundwater pumps. That's not even what they're called. What are they? I always forget what they're called. Offshore pumps. Yeah, we're using those. Okay, and we need to start transferring items. So let's just say robots. We don't need that many. I'll just put 250 in there. And then we will need 250 in here. They're going to move the uranium into these chests and the iron in here so that they can make the future fuel cells. But I have a buffer amount right there until we get that going. All the different reactors need to heat up. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So each of these floors will hold 9 of these. They put out a little bit more than 2 gigawatts of power. So 18 and change, whatever it ends up being. Then this floor is going to be able to hold maybe 8, depending on how much room the processing center should only take up enough space for one of those. So 18 times 8. Is that right? Yeah. The Factorio mod doesn't even support that much power. It only goes up to 100 gigawatts, so if we ever need more, and that would be silly, we will need to figure something out. Okay, let's see if we have... Yeah, maybe we probably need way more reactors than that, actually, so... That was not enough of a buffer. Maybe we'll just go ahead and transfer the chest. The base is pretty passive at the moment. We're not making that much. Like, our iron plate production is down to 16K. At peak, it's over 100K now. Our power needs are probably down to like 4 or 5 gigawatts. Yeah, 4 gigawatts. Okay, let's go ahead and just pick this guy up. And I'll transfer the stuff. Actually, we can go ahead and tell these guys to it. You know what we can do? I can just say, hey, put that back into the other guy, because we're going to need that. And I'll pick up these, and then we will do a storage chest guy for the iron. Don't need that anymore. We're going to pick up this and pick up that. Ordinarily, I'd be more careful if we hadn't already built all those solar panels, because I would be worried about power crashing. But now we have that solar panel... Oh my gosh, can't even talk. Solar panel buffer, which we will hook up with a power switch and turn off once we have enough nuclear installed, and we will just use it to restart the base like originally planned. All right, this goes right to Badoop. There we go. Oh, and all of our power is still inwards. We, of course, have to wait for the reactors to heat up enough and to have enough power cells, all that kind of stuff, before we can start reversing all the power. Okay, after waiting a few minutes, the pipes have heated up, so now we can run through and reverse everything and then make sure that everything works. Everything is doing okay. I set up all the arrows correctly. We have, let's just look at actually the steam. I guess we can just go ahead and reverse it. 1 gigawatt. It's not actually 1 gigawatt. It's a little bit more than half a gigawatt. Now reversed. Just go through and do every single one, and then hopefully... The only reason this would ever break down in the future is if I stop being able to supply fuel cells, or if I stop being able to process the spent fuel cells. Other than that, it should be fine. I mean, hypothetically, theoretically, as far as I'm aware, I have been wrong about things. I didn't set up labels for this one. Uh-oh. And that is no longer on my bar. Do I have any? I still have some. Okay, so let's set up the labels. That's a major omission, a style blunder, a fashion faux pas. Did I reverse power? Yes, okay. And correct me if I forget any of them. Okay, so now there's one, and then boop, and that has been reversed, and everything should still be going fine. There's actually not much power being required here. It's just the inserters, as far as I'm aware. I think everything else... Oh, then yeah, some pumps. Everything else is passive, though. We do the same thing for the other three, then we will be able to reverse the big building. Then we'll be in business, and we can break down our old system. Okay, they've all been reversed. Now the moment of truth. Let's reverse the whole thing. We should be outputting, like, well, eventually, once the rest of the base can take advantage of it, a little bit over 8 gigawatts. Have we caught up on the production? Yeah, it looks like they caught up on the production of the power cells. That's good. I'm not exactly sure how many nuclear reactor building things we can run with this thing. We'll have to rebuild this pretty soon. Because the mining facility is going to not be able to keep up even with the Covarex and all that kind of stuff, and with the spent fuel cell processing. This guy is set to 50 gigawatts. Reverse him. All right. Then we need to reverse this one. So this one needs to be bumped up to be the maximum amount we'll need for the base. I'll just set it at 50 for now. It's going to be a while before we go over that. And the way this works... When you reverse it, power is being provided from this thing to everything on this floor. And when you reverse this, the power is going to go out from here. So it's going to go down into these guys, into these four. The oil guys and the light oil and petroleum dude. It's going to come out from him, and it's going to further go out here. So to provide power for the rest of our base, we have to reverse this one as well. This one also, let's bump that up to 50 and then reverse it. So power is going to come out of this guy, down to those two, and then out to the rest of the base. And what's our base say? It says... Boop, boop. Oh, we're running on solar panels. Are they powering up? No, they're powering down, so we should be able to see what our nuclear reactor is doing. And this, I think... Tell you what we can do to make sure this guy just... stops being a part of the base. I'm just going to reverse it. We're going to break down the stuff in here and repurpose it. And then all these barrels can get shifted into other things. We don't need the barrels for nuclear, but we need a lot for the oil. Power is powering up. Only 345 mega... That doesn't sound right. 0 megawatts. What about this? 2.9 gigawatts. The power is going out. Let's go check on our... I wonder... Maybe it's because the rest... Oh, maybe this is the only amount of power that everything out here is pulling at the moment. You can see there's not a lot of robot activity, because we're not doing research for quite a while, so all I'm doing really is making more steam turbines to make more nuclear stuff. Yeah, we used to be able to come out here to find the overall amount of power that the base was pulling. I guess we're going to have to do that from in here. Maybe it's no longer possible to have a comprehensive view of how much power we're using, which is a little bit disappointing. I think the base is maybe just pulling 2.9. That's really low. I guess because we're not doing anything. The real test will come once we are... once we're doing research again, but I want to make sure that everything is set up correctly first. 3.2 gigawatts here. So I guess this area is pulling some. 3.1. Oh, okay, I get it. So, if we want to know how much power the base is pulling, and if the solar panels are not plugged in, we should be able to see from here where all the power is being generated and then leaving the facility. Well, this is kind of spooky. I don't know how long it's been since I've seen this much lack of activity going on. I just started some research, so things should pick up. We're only doing 4,000 plates a minute. I took all the old nuclear and I put it into the new nuclear area, and I'm just waiting basically for all of the water barrels to filter their way out of there. I set up the chest so that it should do it automatically. Tire base is pulling, what, like a little bit more than 3 gigawatts, whatever it says inside. I guess inside the deepest area where all the nuclear is being generated will give us the grand total for the base now. This one, currently, until we have more buildings, then we'll do it on this floor. All right, what's it say? It says 3.4 gigawatts, and it'll start climbing. This thing is backed up. We'll just keep an eye on it, make sure it can handle it. We're going to keep the solar panels for a little bit. Actually, we're going to keep them long term, but we're not going to build the on-off switch just yet until I've rebuilt the ore processing area. It's still in this Factory Building Mark II, and it needs to be upgraded pretty seriously. Let's see, what are we up to now? We are now producing more things. Okay, so things are going to start picking up. There's a lot of lag in the system because of all the different layers holding different chests with items. So our science should jump like right to 1,200 per minute, something like that. I think is the cap of the one building we made. And all those lines should be backed up for some time now, so it should kick up quite a bit. And then the ores will start getting used. Power is only 300 watts out here because this no longer includes the amount of power being created inside the base because we are sending power outwards. Inside the base, yeah, we're still at 3.4, so I'm going to have to wait a few minutes for activity to pick up. Looks like it's starting to pick up a little bit. Well, it took a little while, but it seems like we are back up to full capacity, more or less. We are smelting like 91,000 iron plates a minute. I think that goes up to maybe 100,000 before we're totally capped out. All this stuff is empty, so we can clear it out and repurpose it. I'm going to turn them into new nuclear production areas so we can generate even more power and then basically move quickly towards shutting off our solar power and just having the dream, all of our power actually inside the base. The original idea finally established 350 hours later or something like that. Okay, inside. Okay, guys, get inside me. Break everything down. It's time to move on. The end of one era, the beginning of a new. Everything good? Okay, pick this up and pick this up. Look at that. I forgot to dye the middle there. That's embarrassing. Okay. Well, that's all cleared out. We have a lot of extra barrels now because they're not that. I guess that's the amount of barrels that were constantly in flux inside of our old nuclear area. So at this point, power should be a solved problem, and now it's basically a matter of adding more and more of everything until the game breaks again, and then we'll try to find another solution to whatever that problem is. Our stone outpost is about to run out, so I'm going to add another one. So we've got the outpost layout there, and then I got the mining layout somewhere right here. Very soon, though, we're going to have to completely redesign all of our mining outpost stuff because they are just not going to be fast enough for the as many things as I want to be flowing inside the base. Even if we take all the different expansions all around, they're just not providing materials fast enough. Let me put down this guy. Particularly as our productivity bonuses for mining increase. We're up to 240%. So we're getting way more ore than we were originally, and we'll probably want to start using speed modules there. I'll show you an example. I've been running the science for a while. You can see the problem right here. We've got this row of miners, and the belt is getting compressed from just a handful, not the full row. And so there's a lot of missing throughput that we could be taking advantage of. And if we want to do that, we're going to need more belts, which means we're going to need to redesign our loading system here as well. We'll need a different balancer, a bigger balancer. We might also start taking things out sideways instead of straight through the short distance. We might have some going out this way and some going out that way. I have designed a new mining blueprint, so here's the one we have been doing. You can see how dense it is. Here's the next one, which is going to use underground belts so that we basically have triple the amount of belts for the same amount of miners. And then if we, instead of having them all go in one direction, if we start splitting them, one go this direction, the other go that direction, we suddenly have 6 times as many belts, which should help load up the trains faster to get the items to the base. I've been doing research for a while, and the research has been keeping steady at 1.2 thousand per minute. Is it I don't know why we would suddenly be doing so much better unless there was some sort of robot limitation that we had reached some sort of like global cap because of all the barreling stuff, and now we're below that cap so the robots can do more that they couldn't before. I don't know exactly what's going on. We're going to have to review all the different layers of the base and just how much potential is actually going on, how much is being met. But we are going to continue scaling up. We're not done yet. We still have a lot to do. We have to redesign all of our outposts. We have to keep mining up stuff. We have to build our shut-off switch for our solar panel stuff. But that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Have a good day. Bye-bye.